This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Through the night, deep in the heart of Texas, the trailer park is nice and dark. Deep in the heart of Texas, Dad drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas, the TV blares but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas, here we go.
Hey there, welcome to King of the Hill podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
You still are.
I still am.
Yeah.
Last check.
So, Rusty, second show in the beautiful downtown Alico building in Waco, Texas.
It is. It is the second episode right here in the 21st floor.
21st floor out of 22.
Out of 22.
Yeah, we got one floor to go.
We're over 450 plus feet above sea level.
Yeah, I told somebody that the other day and they freaked out.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they thought it was really, really high, and they didn't like that.
Well, if you go to the ground, you're at 400 and something feet on the ground. It's just the extra 20 plus feet that are floors that we're up.
But this is like, I mean, if it's 20 floors, if it's 21
it's like extra
floors,
200
yeah, that'd
feet.
be like 210, if not more.
Yeah, we're up here. We're somewhere up here in the stratosphere.
Gravity still works here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna test that one.
You know, I was talking to my wife, and I told her, I said, I think they figured out what's going on in the Bermuda Triangle. So there are points on this planet where gravity doesn't work the same, which makes total sense to me.
Oh, you're talking about like those new age vortexes or whatever?
I don't think it's just gravity doesn't do the same thing in certain spots, right? So the way I envision it is like a pole that goes through the earth, and the gravity just doesn't work the same way on those poles.
Okay.
Which kind of makes sense to me in my head. You know, you can't expect it to work exactly the same everywhere you're at, I wouldn't think.
I don't know. They say the whole earth could fit on a piece of college ruled paper. Just real nice and flat.
Whose paper?
I don't know. I don't know.
Which college is this?
I don't know. This is
the
Conspiracy Theory 101 podcast.
That would make total sense to me, though. You know, if gravity doesn't work the same there, maybe it pulls those ships under and stuff, you know, and gravity goes all the way up. So maybe it pulls a plane down or something.
I
Who
think
knows?
we're just sitting on the back of a large tortoise.
Sure.
Walking through the ethereal space of time and the universe and stars and things.
Yeah, we were just waiting for that guy to push us up the
so season 4, episode 10.
Season 4, episode 10, Hillennium.
Cool thing about this one is this is the last episode that airs in the 20th century. So
that's true.
This
I
is
didn't even think about that.
This is the last episode that airs in 1999. This one specifically aired December 19th.
Wow.
And then they took a little break
right
for
there.
the holidays, and then boop, it started up again the next year.
Hmm.
So for those of you who are young that are listening to this podcast, which I don't imagine there's too many people that didn't experience this. So Y2K, Mike.
Y2K.
What are your memories of Y2K? What are you remember?
My memories of Y2K were nobody knew what the hell was happening. We didn't know if at midnight, or I guess here it was 11 p.m., you know, if the East was just going to blow up or what was going to happen. I mean, there were all kinds of stories.
Well, that was my question as a kid, too, is which midnight?
Exactly.
There's 24 midnights before it.
That's what I'm saying.
There's all these different time zones,
Yeah.
different midnights. Who's midnight? Is it the International Dateline midnight, or is it the last midnight of the day?
I think we
or-
would have seen it coming had things happened.
Yeah.
It's
just a rollout. They're rolling it out as it comes through.
it's
Yeah,
just
it's
a gradual
slow
destruction.
process. Yeah.
I remember people being terrified though. They thought everything was going to stop. They thought the bank accounts were going to go dry. I mean, we didn't know.
Yeah, I remember a little bit of that sensationalism for sure. Everybody thinking that the computers and everything were going to shut down.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, that's when we're like the cusp of the whole world being ran on. At the very beginning of all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where the world relied on the internet.
Right.
It was about
right,
that time
right.
when if the internet would have just shut completely off in the year 2000, it probably would have caused a big thing. Stock market would have crashed. All
I
kinds of
remember
stuff.
people talking about planes falling out of the sky, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I always thought that was crazy as a kid. I was like, what is like one more year matter to like planes and all these things falling
It was
out of
all
the sky?
the code. They said that the code was not.
And I guess as a kid, I really didn't understand. Didn't understand a lot of that. I was like 10.
I do remember because I was running a group of programmers at the time.
Oh wow, okay.
And so
it was topical for y'all.
It
this-
was
this
very
kind of thing.
topical. Yeah, I remember us having to make everything Y2K compliant, and that was like you would go to these.
Is this just like made up rules? These compliancy things?
No, what they would
or-
do is they would check the code and make sure that the dates would roll over in
I
the
got
code.
you.
So that was the whole idea, was the fact that the dates were
Only to
went up.
1999.
Exactly. So
And they
anytime you
didn't
went to
counter for
2000,
that.
they weren't. But most
Yeah.
of it worked fine.
Yeah.
Some people did have to go in and change some code and stuff, but it wasn't. Nothing happened.
My calculator stopped working.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It
I
didn't-
realized
it
it's
wouldn't-
because I didn't have it in the sun long enough for it to charge the
it
solar panel.
wouldn't spell boobs anymore. if
Yeah,
you turned
there's
it
no
upside
more
down.
boobies.
All right, so this one starts, like we said, season 4, episode 10, Hillennium, all about Y2K. This one starts in a snow globe. First shot you get is through a Christmas snow globe, and you see Hank picking out a Christmas tree. Do you get a real Christmas tree, or you have a fake one?
No, we get a real one every year.
Really?
Every year, my entire childhood and everything else. Yeah, we just always had real ones.
I was super allergic to pine trees.
Yeah. Well,
So we always had a fake tree and a fake fireplace. We had one of those cardboard fireplaces.
one of the cardboard
Yeah.
fireplaces.
Yeah.
No, we never did it. We never had a fireplace, but we always had the real tree. And my son was allergic to a lot of different stuff, but he had
Yeah.
allergy medicine.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
get over it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. We just never did it. I can remember going and buying one that smelt like pine.
Yeah.
I mean, we usually bought our Christmas tree the day after Christmas because they were all 50%
Yeah,
off.
it's all 50% off.
And then you stick it in the closet and you don't use it for a year.
No, my mom was huge on it. It was a real big thing to my mom. Christmas still is.
Yeah.
It's just like a really, really big event. And even now that we're adults and we're like giving gifts like 2 weeks before Christmas and all
Yeah.
that stuff, just giving,
Yeah.
like, hey man, I already got this. You might as well have
Yeah,
it, kind of thing.
sure.
She gets pissed.
Really?
She gets super pissed because I told her, I was like, hey, I got y'all's gift. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to y'all. And she's like, no, I'm gonna open it on Christmas.
What do you think that comes from? Just the surprise, the family, what is it?
I don't know. It's one of those. I think it's a mom thing. Like she had catered and had these Christmases for all of those years I was growing up.
Sure.
And my mom started in 1984, and her last kid was 1996.
Yeah.
So she had she'd been
Wow.
raising kids for a really long time. So it's just a thing that's kind of, I guess, it's a habit ingrained in her. It's just something that she likes to do. So all the traditions and stuff that she did with us, she just does with the grandkids.
I think it's what it is.
now.
I think it's traditional, right? I mean, it's those traditions.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that to die out. People don't like change, all of that kind of stuff.
I think there's a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
People don't like change.
Well,
and-
the other thing is you want that perfect family Christmas. You
Yeah,
want
yeah.
that-
And
you-
it's,
it starts with wanting a perfect family. And
Yeah,
then-
the
and then
perfect
you
family
want perfect
Christmas.
family Christmas.
Then
yeah.
she just likes all the pomp and stuff.
The pomp and
yeah,
circumstance,
she
yeah.
likes all that stuff. It's for all events.
Sure.
My mom is atheist, but Easter, everybody better be dressed nice.
Yeah.
Easter meal.
Do you go to church?
No, we don't do the church thing, but it was
seems weird.
It was
Who are you
just
dressing
for
up
us.
for?
It was just for that's what I always used to think. I was like, we're in a non-religious household.
Well, that's
But it's the Easter eggs, it's the bunny rabbits, it's the candy, it's the kids. Again, it's just like you said, it's just my mom and dad like partying and having people at the house and stuff like that. So it's just really a gathering thing.
Stuff like that.
It's just a reason to get together, like they needed one. You know what I mean?
Sure,
but it was just hey, it's Easter, everybody come to the house, we'll barbecue.
It almost feels like, that's what I'm supposed to do, so that's what I'm going to do.
It's
been ingrained in you. All right, so we start in the snow globe. Hank's picking out a Christmas tree, and he is talking to a new character we've never met named Chappie.
Chappie.
He says, boy, I tell you what, Chappie, you got some good-looking trees this year. Chappie seems to be a little defensive. Says, is that a dig? Because it ain't funny, Hank.
That's Toby Huss,
Chappie.
by the way. Yeah.
Okay. He goes, no, I wasn't trying to be funny. He goes, oh, yeah, sorry, Hank. People ain't buying trees this year. They're buying batteries and bottled water. It's a millennium, Hank. I love this line from Hank. He says, that's crazy. Everybody's known about the millennium for almost a year now. He said, I have on good authority from Texas Propane Commissioner Murray Hogarth, personal friend, that there will be no disruption of essential services. Chappie says, well, I'm not panicking. You want to know why? Because Chappie takes care of Chappie. Want a piece of cornbread? Made it myself. No electric tools. He hands... I'm not eating cornbread from
with
Chappie.
No electric tools. Made it myself.
Tree place. Yeah.
With no electric tools.
Hank being the nice guy.
How did he make it? With
I don't
no electric
know.
tools. Did he just have like an open fire cornbread?
It's like an old school cornbread.
There is some of them cooking shows I watch on YouTube. You have like this guy that does this colonial cooking.
Yeah.
Townsend is his name. He does a lot of colonial stuff with cast iron and all that. Where they'll do cornbread.
That is some
and
great
the cast
cornbread.
iron skillet. Oh, yeah, you've never had it that good.
Oh, it gets all crispy around the.
Well, what he does too is he does it on the open fire too. So he takes it and he puts the pot and then he puts a bunch of ashes and embers on top of
like
it
cowboy
and cooks
cooking,
it.
that
cowboy
kind of
cooking.
stuff.
Yeah, the chuck wagon style stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But Hank, being the nice guy, eats some and says, must be all the elbow grease that makes it taste so good, huh? Chappie is all about just telling it like it is.
Oh, yeah.
He says, that or the lard, render it myself. Hank said, I don't
myself.
want to know how he renders it with no electric tools. Hank says, you're like a pioneer, Chappie. He says, I live in a shack. I poop in an outhouse. I eat what I kill. Let the grid go down, Lord. I don't need it. Man, this guy.
I like it.
He
Dale's
makes Dale
best
look
friend,
sane,
Yeah.
He loads the tree in the truck, and he says all that stuff about pooping in an outhouse and all that. And he goes, Hank says, there isn't a Mrs. Chappie, is there, Chappie?
No, there's not.
All right, next thing, we're in the alley with Hank, Bill, and Boomhauer, and Boomhauer says, I tell you what, man, in Y2K, the mainframe's going to come crashing down like that grid, man. Look like a dang old apocalypse now, man. The horror. He slows down and does it like apocalypse
Marlon
now.
Brando, by the way, that's his line.
Absolutely. Dale drives up in the Bugabago. He parks and comes over to him. Hank says, oh, Lord, Dale, this Y2K thing is tailor-made for paranoid freaks like him. And then Dale walks up. Dale says, gentlemen, sorry I'm late, but I had a fantastic day. I went to the Army-Navy store. I bet he spends a lot of time in the Army-Navy store.
Yeah, have you ever been to one?
Oh, yeah.
A surplus?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They opened the one back up over here. It was closed down for a while, and now it's open again.
I didn't know it was open again.
Now it's open
I
again.
might have to go check them out. My son's on this big War II kick.
Yeah.
We saw some War II stuff for sale on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
I inquired about it, and the guy sent me pictures of it. It was a Nazi armband.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And one of them was a Japanese war flag. Wow. So what it was is the story on that was it was a kamikaze pilot that had crashed and killed himself in war, and the flag was sent back to his family.
Yeah.
But the flag was signed by everybody that was a part of his unit that survived or whatever.
Wow.
And then they send the flag back to the family. I was kind of interested in buying that, but he just wanted
I'm sure,
ungodly amount of money to be selling. He needs to take that to a museum and
no kidding,
try to sell it or something, because he had it on Facebook Marketplace, I think, for like $2,500 or something like that. Something crazy.
Yeah.
I said, I'll give you $25 for it, and he said, no, I'm good.
I saw a story this morning that that kind of thing is starting to crash with the thrift stores.
Yeah.
So like Goodwill and places like that. There was a story where there was a Grateful Dead T-shirt that's very, very rare. And this Grateful Dead T-shirt sells on eBay for like $4,500.
Oh,
right?
damn.
It was at a Goodwill somewhere, and they had it marked at $2,500. So they're starting to look.
They're starting to pick up and get savvy on stuff. I know on their, if you go to their auction website for Goodwill, their online auction, they do that. Yeah. They do that where they'll have something, and then I'll go and look at the eBay price for it. And usually for a thrift store pickup, you should be making 80% profit or whatever, way. It should be a lot of profit. But the margin is just so small on some of that stuff that they're selling. It's unbelievable. Well, like Laserdisc stuff. Yeah. Well, there's some stuff that they priced that doesn't even have really that much
This vintage
value.
Market that's developed has really kind of ruined a lot of that stuff. It happened with...
it'll die out, though, here in a little while.
Well, it happened with storage buildings. It happened with eBay stuff. I mean, it's happened with a lot of things. Yeah. People and companies finally catch up at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
So he says he went to the Army-Navy store. Hank says, what'd you buy, a battleship? No, Hank, he didn't buy a battleship. He said, no, Hank, don't be a silly. Not just silly. Don't be silly. Why I bought an American flag detail. It signifies my full faith and confidence in the United States government in these trying and uncertain times. Hank says, well, it's taken 2,000 years, but Dale, you're finally making sense. He says, Team USA.
You know what movie makes me really think of like Team USA?
The one with the puppets?
No, not that one.
Team America?
No, Red Dawn.
Red Dawn.
That always makes me think. That's, to me,
Wolverines!
Like, when I think of, like, patriotism or, like, American, like, doing the right thing kind of thing, that's always the movie that just comes to my mind.
That original Red Dawn was a good movie.
Doozy.
It's a great movie.
It's a super doozy. The sound,
remake sucks.
Whoever did all the sound and stuff for it is phenomenal. Just all the quiet in the right times and the build up of the sound and stuff. Yeah. Oh, that movie is
It's
great.
really good for being made in the late 80s.
Yeah, if you've never seen that one.
Oh, man, watch Red Dawn.
Go check that out.
Watch the original. Don't watch that second one.
It might be the best film with Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze in
it. Wait, so you're saying Dirty Dancing is not your favorite?
No, I'm not. It's not a bad movie.
They had
it's
the
just
time
not
of their
my favorite.
life. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know that they didn't seem to be having a good time.
Well, it was dirty. All right, so next we're in Dale's basement. He's taking inventory. We know that Dale is not really part of Team USA.
No, he's being funny.
He's got a little clipboard, and he's taking inventory. He goes, let's see, 4 sacks of seed corn, 18 cases of breakfast bars, strawberry, 18 cases breakfast bars, assorted, 2 CO2 pressurized drums of Mountain Dew. Nancy comes down the stairs. She says, Shug. He says, no one's going to catch the big D off guard. Cha-cha! Does a little karate.
Yeah.
He says, the real problem will be obtaining fresh meat. A breeding pair of gerbils. He takes the thing off of a cage. She goes, Dale, honey, one of those is a hamster.
Well, Artie gave us some facts here. Yeah. So you can eat gerbils.
Sure.
I'm sure there is a group of people that eat gerbils. I know for
Argentina's
sure.
big on the guinea pigs.
They're big on guinea pigs. Yeah, I was going to say South Americans eat guinea pigs. I think it's Peru, Argentina, a lot of the mountainous areas, because I think that's where the guinea pigs are, is in the mountains.
Well, they're easy to breed too.
Yeah,
don't take
easy.
up much space.
Nah. And actually, I imagine because their guinea pigs aren't just like the ones the pet guinea
they're
pigs.
Good size ones.
They're like big. Yeah. So I imagine it's good.
They're almost like nutrients.
Probably like a
those big rats.
Nutrients.
Yeah.
So gerbils and hamsters can't procreate though. Yeah. So that is.
Yeah.
So here, where he talks about a gerbster and all that. There's no possibility.
He says, "Laugh now, lady. After a month eating cockroaches, you'll be begging for gerbster."
Yep.
All right, now we're in Peggy's quote-unquote office with the water heater with Bobby and Luann. Peggy says, okie dokie, how's this one? Although there is no L, she's sitting in front of the computer. Although there is no L in Christmas, there is no L in Christmas. She thinks that's the funniest thing.
That is actually a good...
Bobby.
That's not a bad joke. It is a bad joke, but it's not a badly...
Sure.
It's pretty good written joke.
Bobby looks at it and he sees the word Noel, N-O-E-L. He goes, oh, I see. The second one is N-O-E-L. Mm-hmm. That's a different word. That is very funny, Mom. He says, he kind of laughs. Luann laughs nervously. It's almost like they're hostage, watching her do this
jokes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Here comes Hank. He comes in to adjust the wreath on the door, and he's singing "Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum." He said, who wants to go to Megalomart and buy some tinsel? And boy, Bobby and Luann cannot get out of there fast enough. They're like, me, and they just run out. And he asked Peggy if she wants tinsels, and so they all go. Now we're at Megalomart, and there are long lines of people. Lots of toilet paper. So this reminds me, in our recent history, this is the COVID thing.
Yeah,
like we had to run on the toilet paper and meat and all that stuff.
Yeah, all kinds
Every
of stuff.
time there's anything in the national zeitgeist like this, people make a run. You know, if there's a big winter storm, if there's, I don't know, Kate Middleton does something, whatever.
Well,
doesn't matter.
Well, that's what we're in. We're in like this cycle of emergencies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything's an emergency.
It's just like this cycle of stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But
I blame it on that 24-hour news cycle. Man.
That's what it is. Because I wish first became
I
aware.
wish TV still went off.
Yeah, no, shut off at night. Yeah,
like 3 a.m.
Well, I didn't even become aware of the 24-hour news cycle until 9/11.
Really?
I think that's what made a lot of my generation aware of the news.
Oh yeah, that's where it built itself.
Because at 10 years old, like I read the newspaper and stuff like that. It was just something I did. My parents or whatever. I'd look at a couple of articles or something like that, but I never just watched or paid attention to the news.
Right.
That kind of made me like, and then the 24-hour news cycle. I remember the news cycle for 9/11 as it went on for like solid 2 months. 24. It was like solid 2 months of nothing. They weren't even telling the news about anything that was going on. It was all 9/11 news.
Sure.
And I just remember just watching it. Constantly watching it.
Remember how big a hero George Bush was for a while?
For a while, until he invaded Iraq, and then that changed the perspective.
He, before that all happened, he had already planned on. He had a bunch of policies in place that were very unpopular.
Oh yeah.
And then when that happened, boy, it just changed the whole game.
Yeah, well, it's because if America held our leaders to the same accountability that we expect other countries to hold theirs to, he'd probably be he'd probably be listed as a war criminal. I'd imagine.
Sure.
Him, Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, that whole Iraq thing was
BlackRock, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever, all that shady defense money.
This is a lot of conspiracy stuff today.
Well, it's the
Y2K.
It's the topical Y2K thing.
Y2K.
Yeah.
All right. So
I don't believe in the magic bullet theory. I don't think there was a magic bullet. There was only one bullet
down and to the left.
I think that was it. Yeah.
So there's long lines of people at the Megalo Mart. They're all getting the toilet paper. They're all hoarding, stocking up. We come in and we see Santa on the roof of the Megalo Mart, and he's saying, "Ho ho ho! Our prices are ho ho low." And there's a guy with a shopping cart. He's got tons and tons of toilet paper in it, and he said, "There's a run on triple ply bunny soft." And this worries Bobby quite a bit. He says, "What about quilted aloe vera?" He says, "I don't know. It's not my brand." He goes, "Well, it is my brand."
Well, it's my brand.
And Bobby's very worried about not getting the toilet paper that he needs.
Quilted aloe vera.
Well, triple ply bunny soft.
I just didn't know that they had all that stuff in the 90s.
Yeah,
those crazy TPs. I thought that the toilet paper industry blew up in the early 2000s, with all the weird. Because I don't remember lotions and stuff being in toilet paper.
You know how those people that collect toilet paper rolls for their kids at school? They're all just doing like art projects.
Oh, the empty rolls, yeah.
All right, so Hank sees all this and he goes, "Bobby, you are not hopped up on this Y2K ho-ha, are you?" He goes, "I just saw a man wheeling 300 rolls of triple ply, and it made me uneasy." He goes, "That man is a nut job." Now we're in line. They are standing in line, and this lady turns around and goes, "Oh, he's not a nut job. I used to work for Dell Computer. I know things." Okay, lady. There's a lot of people that worked for Dell Computer.
A lot of people.
Peggy turns to her and goes, "Dell Computer? Oh, excuse me. I have a K Pro. Now, can you tell me if it'll be Y2K compliant?" That lady just laughs her butt off and says, "K Pro, my watch has more memory than that piece of crap." And then Bobby looks at him and goes, "You know what I think, Dad? Nut job."
Do you know anything about K-Pros?
I don't know anything about a K-Pro. No. Was that a real thing?
It was an actual real computer company from San Diego.
I thought it was like, like a gateway or a whatever,
It started in 1981 and went defunct in 1992, so they were already defunct by this point.
Wow.
The company was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was Packard Bell? You remember Packard Bell computers?
Yeah, I remember Packard Bell. And then do you remember Dude, You're Getting a Gateway? Or no, it's your Dude, You're Getting a Dell, but do you remember the gateway with the...
Oh, yeah, the gate with the cows.
The cow print, yeah.
But the Packard Bell, they got in trouble because everybody was buying Packard Bells. They were cheap.
Yeah.
And then they got in trouble because people were breaking them open and finding used parts in them. So they were recycling these used parts and not telling anybody. All right, so now we're at the Hill House. It's night. We got Christmas lights all over all the houses and stuff. And Peggy is in her quote unquote office, and she is printing like crazy on that dot matrix printer with the little rows and the things on the side of it that she had to tear off. Hank comes in and says, Peggy, I need your help. She goes, oh, I need hard copies. I could lose everything, Hank. Everything. 7-letter boggle. Words, my Peggy Hill self-abridged thesaurus, musings, ponderings on the way of being, musings, rap music, wrapping paper. I know I can crack that nut. And the thing that we do see is that Bobby is coming in out of frame, and he's like Pac-Man eating the popcorn off of the thread that Hank's making. Did you ever make that? Where you thread the popcorn?
No, we never did nothing like that. We did the Christmas cracker thing.
Christmas cracker? What is it? Oh, like the thing that pops?
The thing that pops.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're in bed, and we can still hear that daisy wheel printer back in the background. She is just printing everything off. She thinks she has to have a hard copy. And they're both in bed. Hank says, Peggy, why don't you take off that nasal strip? Maybe your snoring will drown out the sound of that dang printer. She says, do not blame me. Blame the freaking millennium. We go to the next morning. Peggy goes into her office, and she sees that the printer is jammed. It is just printing on that one line over and over.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my opinions. Oh, no. She just starts crying. Now we see.
That's where her opinion should do is, slowly die out.
Just print over each other. Now we see.
I think that's what they do when they're coming out of her brain.
Oh, yeah.
They're like printing over each other. That's why she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
It's all in Spanish. We see the truck backing out, Hank's truck, and Bobby is sitting in the bed, which we never see. And he's pulling out, and the boys are over there in the alley. Hank rolls down the window and says, hey, Dale, you own a computer, don't you? Dale says, I have a system. He says, well, I'm going to surprise Peggy this year. I'm going to get her a new computer. And, of course, Dale, not sensing societal cues, he says, a computer? A computer? Hank says, it's a shame to see all our friends and neighbors acting so selfish, because now Dale is in the truck with them. He's going with them to help him pick out a computer. He says, Fred Nicholson cut an old lady off yesterday in the checkout lane. The JV basketball coach. Dale says, greedy. He goes, if everyone hoards, there'll be nothing left to go around, and he who does hoard will have unreasonable power. But you can see his gears just cranking in his brain.
Yeah.
Hank says, you and I seem to be the only ones around here that have our heads on straight. He goes, completely straight. Now we're at a strip mall, and we see the sign for 24-hour computer heaven.
24-hour computer heaven.
Heaven.
If you're looking for a PC at 3 a.m.
And they pull up into the shopping center, and they park in front of J.R.R. Tokens, which I really enjoyed that.
I like that joke,
I think
too.
That's a
that
good
is an obvious play on J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, because you used to have to buy tokens to play the machines in the arcade.
It's actually a really good joke.
So they go in, and they see all these guys with clipboards and stuff, and you can tell they're working on all the machines. And Bobby says, the machines are down for compliance testing. He goes, oh, hold the phone. Whack-a-mole is up and running. So he runs off to it. Hank goes over there by him. He goes, of course it's running. There's no computer in your whack-a-mole game. Well, it probably is. It's a basic peg and gear system with simple servo motors controlling each rodent. He just kind of sits down because he's regaling Bobby with all of the ins and outs of the
of course, he's got to make whack-a-mole unfun.
Oh, yeah. So he goes, so they don't make them like that. Oh, and the mole pokes him right in the butt because he sat down on it. Now we see a giant sign that says Computer Xmas Blowout, CD, DVD, MP3. Boy, you remember when that was like you could buy those things? You could buy a CD, a DVD was white hot, and all of a sudden there was a thing called an MP3 player. Do
you remember the being able to put MP3s on a disc and being able to put like 100 songs on one disc instead of having and then you put it in like a DVD player, and the DVD player would give you the menu for the songs or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I had a changer in my Bronco 2 at the time.
Oh, Bronco 2. Did you have a white one?
A little black one.
A little black one.
Yeah, it was. I had tint that was probably illegal on it, but it was. I loved that car. That was my favorite car. But I had this little CD changer, and it had a thing where if you put MP3s on there, it would just play it like songs.
Yeah.
You could just fill it. So they're now at 24-hour computer haven, and they're looking at all the computers. There's just rows and rows of these computers, right? And they all look exactly the same. Dale's over at the side, and he goes, Hank, I found one. Hank says, now, hold on, Dale. I want to make sure it's Y2K compliant because Peggy's K-Pro evidently is not. Salesman comes up, and he's just kind of cackling at him. He goes, K-Pro? That wasn't even Y1K compliant. He goes, all home computers are Y2K compliant now, but the mainframes. Dale says, if people would spend a little less time worrying, a little more time reading a brilliantly written op-ed piece for former FCC Chairman Reed Hunn, then they'd realize that our government has everything under control.
And that is a real – he actually was the FCC chairman.
Was he?
From November 29th, 1993 to November 3rd, 97. He was a Bill Clinton appointee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hank says, I'd like to read that article, Dale, and I'll just take that computer, the gray one. They're all gray. Every single one of them's gray, so that's a decent joke also. They're over there swiping Hank's card, trying to pay for it, and the guy says, oh, shoot, our system is down. I can't ring you up. Hank says, like I think all sane people would say, well, just write me out a receipt. He goes, no, sir, the computer is down. I can't sell you a computer. I can't check our inventory. I can't lock the front door. It is impossible to figure out the sales tax. Hank says it's 8%. He goes, yes, and 8 is a key on the computer. So they all just leave.
Hey, sales tax has been 8% for a long time, huh?
It's 8.25 here.
Oh, 8.25?
Yeah, it's 8.25. Still, 8.25 is not hard to figure out.
Yeah, it's not hard.
So now we're in the alley. Bill is in the alley drinking by himself, which is super sad. Peggy brings trash out, and he goes, hey, Peggy. She says, where's Hank? He goes, he went someplace. I can't tell you. Of course, this puts Peggy's radar or antenna up. He goes, she says, he went Christmas shopping. Bill's like, and so she ends up getting Bill on the back porch, pouring him some wine, feeding him little cheese cubes, trying to get all this information out of him. Bill is telling her all about his wonderfully interesting life. He says, so I moved all the combs to the lower drawer, which was practically empty, and now it's a base-wide policy. Yeah, so all the barbers at Fort Blandon, well, and she's feeding him cheese, and she goes, tell me the part about where Hank is getting me for Christmas. He goes, oh, a computer. He just gives it up. I mean, it's just so easy.
Well, it's such a, well, I mean, come on, it's a shoe-in gift for Peggy, right?
He goes, anyway, and he's trying to tell her the rest of the stuff. She goes, oh, yeah, because she's really excited about this computer. He starts telling the rest of it. Yeah, so remember I said I'd tell you about the brushes, Peggy? He looks around, brushes? And she's gone. He goes, talking to himself, he goes, you had her with the combs, idiot. I don't know why he's always trying to get in Peggy's pants.
I don't know.
It's
kind of
a really
odd.
weird thing.
Very, very weird.
He's been turned down so many times.
But it's his friend's wife, too. I just don't understand
He's been threatened several times.
Well, that's why I think the theory behind Peggy and Bill comes into play because of all the weird tension around the two.
I guess. So now we transition over to Dale's basement. It's completely dark. He says, Shug, I'll be in my think hole. That's gross, but sure. He's going down the stairs, completely dark. All you see is a cigarette. And then he turns on the light, and dear God, the whole place is flooded. I didn't know what it was at first, but he goes, my dew! So the whole place is just flooded with Mountain Dew. He looks over. Puff Puff, the hamster, is over there eating corn out of one of the bags. And he goes, how could you do this to me, Puff Puff? He goes, my cigarettes, because there's just cartons of them floating. He tries to pick them up out of the dew, and they're all wilted and gross. This is probably the worst thing that could happen to Dale.
Very worst thing that could happen to him.
His cigarettes are soaked in dew.
Yep.
His dew is now spoiled.
Ain't got nothing.
His hamster that he was going to eat is gone. All right, so now we're at Strickland. Big old line of people outside. They are waiting to get into Strickland Propane. Inside, it's Hank and Debbie and Mr. Strickland, and he's saying to them, well, I hope you took your heart pills this morning, Mr. Strickland, because it looks like it's going to be a rough one. He goes, nope, not me, Hank. There's a lynch mob out there. They gone Y2 kooky. I'm out of here.
Y2 kooky.
Y2 kooky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Debbie. By the way, Debbie's packing up as well. Hank says, sir, have you forgotten the Gasser's Creed? I promised to dispense. And he interrupts and he goes, no. I don't have time for that. Debbie and me are going to go ride out the apocalypse in the desert. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Mr. Strickland sucks. He's not a great guy.
No, he's not a great guy at all.
He's just not a great guy. So Hank finally unlocks the door, lets the big crowd in. Buck and Debbie, you see them speeding off in a propane truck, dragging his Cadillac car behind him. And the crowd is all just like angrily muttering and stuff. And Hank's just like, don't worry, we got plenty of propane to go around. And he shouts to the back. He goes, hey, Joe Jack, what do you got left in the tanks? Joe Jack sticks his head down and goes, tanks are tapped out. We got nothing. He goes, what? But we were supposed to get a shipment in this morning. And then the people are starting to turn on him. They're getting pretty angry. He goes, okay, it's officially an emergency. I'm going to put in a call to the Texas Propane Commissioner, Murray Hogarth. And boy, the whole crowd's just like, oh, wow, Murray Hogarth? Like anybody knows who the hell that is.
So actually, he is a real person, but he wasn't he was from some dude from Canada, but he was the founder of Pioneer Petroleum, which opened a gas station in 1956, its first one.
Wow.
It grew to over like 140 locations. It was one of the largest distributors of petroleum in Canada at one point. It was the largest private independent petroleum marketer. So he was a legitimate person who was in energy, but he wasn't in Texas. So
he was not the Texas Propane Commissioner at the time?
No. He was just some dude from Canada who started something that had to do with petroleum. So
the crowd is starting to kind of turn on him. He goes, well, I know him. They're all very impressed. So he picks up the phone. He says, Murray Hogarth, please. Oh, hi, Murray. Hank Hill calling. My supplier left me holding the what? Wait, what? You promised me? You said there were procedures in place. He goes, what does this have to do with Y2K? What does temporarily non-compliant mean? Murray, stop crying. Act like a commissioner, for God's sakes. And he hangs up the phone. The crowd is like, so where's our propane? They have really turned at this point because they are Y2 kooky. Hank says, nothing to panic about. Okay, I got some extra tanks in the back. Starts kind of backing out of the thing. He goes, so if you'll just form a single line, please. There you go. There's procedures in place. Procedures. He backs out. He gets to the back door and he says, forgive me, Lord, for what I'm about to do. And then he locks the back door, takes 3 propane tanks and throws them in his truck and speeds off.
Yeah.
That is very unlike Hank. Very, not like Hank at all.
No, it's not like him at all. To be burning out and riding out.
But hey, that is our first commercial break. We'll take that one. Go load up our trucks with propane, and we'll be right back.
Propane.
Well, let me tell you, Rusty, eating healthy used to be a struggle for me, but that was before I discovered the BlendJet 2 portable blender.
The BlendJet 2.
Now when fast food temptation strikes, I just blend up a delicious and nutritious protein shaker smoothie. They gave us a whole bunch of those little packages that came with the blender.
Yeah.
And there's some really good flavors in there. I mean, there's some like that matcha thing.
The green matcha?
Yeah, those are pretty damn good. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up smoothies at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Maybe a human thumb. Don't put your thumb in it. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C, which has saved us all. There's nothing worse than turning that USB thing over and over and over and over, and then finally finding how it plugs in.
Oh yeah, I don't like that either.
USB-C saved us all.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap, and you're good to go. There's 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from. There's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. We have a pink one. Lavender.
Pink one.
I think ours is lavender.
Mine is the Toy Story Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Pizza Planet one.
Ooh, that one. Yeah. They've got some really cool colors, but I really like the patterns. I know one of the people here got one that looks like Woody the Sheriff.
Is there a code with them?
There is a code. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. Glab it today.
Glibbity glob.
And when you do glab it, make sure you use the promo code
BWAAA12.
That's to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BWAAA12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
BlendJet 2, formerly known as BlendJet.
Hey everyone, it's me, your puzzle-loving pal. Did you know I was a puzzle-loving pal?
I didn't know you were a puzzle-loving pal.
I got to tell you about my latest obsession. It's Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal. They are high quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I have been there. I will tell you this, my parents, they're very old and decrepit, and they make they do puzzles all the damn time.
Yeah.
Like there's always a table that has like an unfinished puzzle. Yeah, it's either that or I don't know.
Die.
feel your bones. So these puzzles, these Wongo puzzles, they are 100% wooden. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn. Just think about that for a second. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it.
Whimsy.
They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. Before we started doing this, I didn't realize how many people I know already have these Wongo puzzles. I mean, they're apparently pretty.
You can't go wherever Juan go.
With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I loved doing the snow globe puzzle myself. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Wongo Puzzles, WONGO puzzles.com, and pick a puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code
BWAAA
for 10% off your order. It's the most fun you'll have with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGO puzzles.com and use your code
BWAAA
to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. And we are back. We are full of propane and ready to ride this
full of gas,
year 2000 out. We see Hank drive into his garage. He puts the door down. So you know that Hank is trying to get away with something here. He never really puts that door down unless he wants to hide something, because he's very proud of his very neat and unified garage. So we see him coming in, lowers the door. Inside, Peggy is on the phone. Luann is at the table. And Peggy on the phone says, Hank's getting me a new computer for Christmas. She goes, well, I think it's romantic. I don't know who the hell she's talking to. But also, Hank took those 3 propane tanks in there and he put a tarp over them because he wants to make sure they're hidden. Hank comes in, he's looking out the window, and he goes, did it make the news? She says, did what make the news? He goes, over at work, Murray Hogarth was crying. Peggy, this computer thing could be big. You were right to worry. Okay. Hank is starting to flip out a little bit here, right? He's starting to buy into this thing. Luann is over there pouring eggnog. Peggy says, well, I am more than worried, Hank. I am panicked. I am panicked that my old computer is going to drag this family down into the depths of chaos. Let's get rid of that old computer. Oh, right, exactly. I agree. So, once again, this is shitty Peggy coming out.
Shitty Peggy.
She's not worried about Y2K.
Nope.
She's just worried about getting herself a computer. That's it. Hank says, let's get rid of that old computer, shall we? He takes off. She whispers to Luann, oh, he is such a bad actor. Then we see Dale at the glass sliding doors in the kitchen. He goes, let me in. He's banging on the doors. Hank comes over and goes, oh, Dale, thank goodness. Everyone else is losing their heads, and you're the only one. He goes, shut up. I don't have time for your little problems. My gerbil screwed me. Hank's like, what? What the hell are you talking about? I'm ruined. All the planning and the secret hoarding. Hank says, you've been hoarding? I don't know why this is a surprise to anybody.
I don't know why it's a surprise to anybody at all. He is a classic hoarder.
He's a hoarder. He lies about stuff all the time.
He has Mountain Dew and 55-gallon drums.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And you can't tell me Hank doesn't know about that Mountain Dew and those drums. You know, I mean, he had to bring them in. There's no way he brought them in by himself.
Nah, no way at all.
So Hank, again, he's surprised. He says, you been hoarding? And all this time, Dale is just going through their pantry. He goes, duh, I need foodstuffs. What you got? He goes, I have nothing for a liar like you. He starts taking that stuff back. Dale says, you got 3 tanks of propane. Hank says, how'd you know that? He goes, Hank, I have dedicated my life to getting ahead of others in times of crisis. This is my time. Hank says, fine, it's your time. So what do we do? He goes, I have no idea. So it's his time, but he has no idea.
No idea what they're supposed to be doing, yeah.
So now it's nighttime. They go back out to Chappie because Chappie's the one that said he poops in a bucket or whatever. Chappie says, all right, you're going to need your own wheat grinder. I'll teach you how to grow your own mung beans and old paper towels. I live in a shack and I poop in an outhouse. I don't know why he has to add that.
I'm not sure why he has to add that either.
So,
I poop in an outhouse.
Here's a do we know who wrote this one?
Johnny Hardwick.
Did he?
Yeah, this is Johnny Hardwick, I think, is the writer. Hold on. It was directed by Tricia Garcia and written by Johnny Hardwick. Yeah,
okay.
So this is one of Johnny's episodes.
It was Toby one of the producers on this? Toby from The Office?
No.
Okay. Because there is a scene in The Office where somebody is sprouting mung beans in their drawer on paper towels.
Yeah.
And so it's funny to me that same joke made it in here.
Oh, the mung beans
about the
joke.
mung beans on paper towels.
That is kind of funny. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, it's probably some overlap. Greg Daniels, you know what I mean? He's the director, so
it's he's growing those, or he's sprouting those mung beans in his drawer.
I bet you could look at Parks and Rec, there's probably a mung bean joke somewhere in there.
Probably is.
Yeah.
He goes, I just remember them going, yeah, it smelled like death, but they taste great. All right, so he says, I poop in an outhouse. Dale says, that's it? That's your go-to guy? An outhouse and monkey beans? Monkey beans.
Monkey beans.
I couldn't take on the freaking bicentennial with an outhouse and monkey beans, let alone the millennium. Of course, Chappie is like, is that a dig? Chappie just wears his feelings on his sleeve. Dale says, you listen to me, Clem Kittlehopper. You listen good. 1.2 trillion lines of lethal software code. Hank kicks in and says, yeah, and 30 billion embedded microchips. Dale says, all going down. Utilities will fail. Nuclear weapons will launch themselves. Here comes Chappie. He says, wait. Hold on now. Don't cut me out. We can work as a team, right? Hank says, all right, I'll take care of tools and supplies. You guys are in charge of food. Try to stay focused. As soon as he says try to stay focused, both of them are just
going all over
the place. Just they don't know what to do.
He calls Chappie Clem Kittlehopper. That is a country bumpkin character created by Red Skeleton.
Oh, really?
That's where they get that name from.
Red Skeleton, huh? Now we see a banner because they have pulled up to this antique shoppy. It is at the antique shoppy, and the banner says oldie-timey Christmas gifts. And I'm saying the E because they added in there. OLDETYME Christmas gifts. Old-time Christmas gifts. And now we're back at Hank's place. And he has a grandfather clock. He's in there polishing it in the garage, covering it up because that's what he's going to give Peggy now. It's right next to a big poster of Tom Landry. And he says he's in there with Bobby. He goes, I know that your mom wants a computer for Christmas, but she'll thank me come January 1st when this is the only gift on the block that'll work. He says
he's starting to get wrapped up in it now, yeah.
This is just silly. He goes, and when that grid goes down, you know what's going to happen. Bobby says, I don't know what a grid is. He goes, exactly. He goes, nobody does. And they certainly won't know what time it is. And that's when they'll be knocking on our door asking to use our clock. I don't know that that's the way it's going to work, but okay.
So apparently this clock makes another appearance, according to Artie here. So it's a 1910 Stromwell grandfather, and it is seen again in Season 12, Episode 21. It came from the garage.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I question that because of what happens at the end, but we'll go back over that when we get there.
Yeah, but that's what it says right here, which indicates they may have actually retrieved it from.
I guess they did. Yeah. So Bobby looks on the pegboard, and of course Hank has that pegboard where everything's outlined, so you know where everything goes. And he sees the drill missing. He goes, "What happened to your power drill?" Hank says, "Gone. Got rid of it. Traded it to a fool for a sack of corn." That is just not like Hank at all.
Yeah.
Bobby says, we've only got 6 days to stock up on aloe vera quilted toilet paper. Hank says, I'll get the truck. So now we see the Bugabago outside the Arlen Animal Shelter. This is 2 episodes in a row that features the Arlen Animal Shelter.
Oh, the animal shelter. Yeah.
Dale and Chappie are there, and Dale's just like, let me handle this. He's talking to the guy at the animal shelter. He goes, my friend Chappie and I both have wives for whom we are looking for presents. Chappie goes, Christmas dogs to put under the tree. That's the stupidest thing. The guy at the shelter goes, well, how about this Lhasa Apso? Dale says, no, that's way too small. Chappie goes, let's see. This one's old and kind of ropey. My wife would not enjoy it. Maybe the guy at the thing says, maybe you two should step away from the cages because he can pick up. They're being a little weird.
They're being super weird.
Chappie says, please, my wife is in a wheelchair. All she wants for Christmas is a big fat dog with lots of meat on its haunches. Dale says, I'll take 9 of those little dogs on top. Wrap them up.
Yeah.
And then the guy.
That's terrible.
The guy picks up that weird like leash on a stick thing, thing that you get around the thing, and he starts threatening them with it. Now we're at the Hill house. It is, I'm assuming it's Christmas morning because they're about to open presents and stuff. They all come running in. Bobby comes running in and goes, we have Christmas. And Luann looks around and just goes, have we lost power? And Hank says, don't know, but when we do, we'll be ready because he's lighting candles on the tree. So they have gone full like pioneer, before electricity kind of stuff. Peggy says, okay, Bobby, honey, why don't you get us started? He unwraps his big roll of toilet paper and he goes, oh, I love it. And he just hugs it. Hank says, well, you did drop some pretty big hints. He goes, all right, who's next? Luann just can't contain herself. She's like, me. She unwraps this thing that has these 2 grinders on it, or these 2 like smasher gears, and almost looks like a pasta machine, but bigger. And she goes, thanks. He goes, careful, Luann. They don't call it a mangler for nothing.
So, that it was
it's a laundry mangler.
A laundry mangle or ringer. So they were used up into the 50s.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
To remove water from clean clothes. There was no spin dryer up until the 50s.
Can you imagine how hardy clothes had to be to go through that damn thing all the time?
Imagine how hardy women had to be to wring those clothes.
Sure. But I'm just saying, you couldn't take the clothes you buy today and run it through there and have them last for
that's
like
the
any
one
time
thing
at all.
I never understood about why they always had like the imagery of women having to have a man to open a jar for them and stuff like that. Any woman that's doing laundry prior to a dryer with a spin dryer is working out.
Churning butter and all that kind of stuff. I mean, good Lord.
You can't tell me their forearms and
those girls knock your teeth out.
They're opening jars.
Heck yeah.
Solo. They're opening the jar for the men. Like the men are handing them jars. Well, because you got to think like women did way more work than men back then. Even even in the days where men were the ones that were at work all the time. Even women were still doing more work.
Being a stay-at-home mother or wife was not easy at all.
No.
Okay, so he says you don't call it a mangler for nothing. It's a laundry mangle. And Bobby looks at her and goes, for a white Christmas, that's 4,000 sheets. Like that's he's funny. Just so grateful about this stupid toilet paper. Luann unwraps more toilet paper, and that's why he says that. She goes, well, thank you, Bobby. I got you a disc man. And Uncle Hank, I got you a pair of Timberland boots, and I got toilet paper and a laundry mangler.
A laundry mangler.
Hank says, Peggy, your turn. It just doesn't faze them. Any of this stuff, it just doesn't faze them. Hank says, Peggy, it's your turn. She goes, is it bigger than a mouse pad? Here's shitty Peggy coming out again.
Yeah.
Hank says, well, why don't you go find out? It's in your office. She runs to her office, and you can see the clock wrapped up in the corner. She's just kind of looking around. She unwraps it, and she goes, that is not a computer. He says, no, it's a Stromwell from 1910. She goes, I do not want a grandfather clock. And she just storms out. And this is Luann's chance. She goes, and I do not want toilet paper. And she just storms out.
Yeah, actually, talking about a 1910 grandfather clock, when this episode aired, my great-grandfather, who was born in 1903, was still alive when this episode aired because he died in 2001. Yeah. And this episode aired in 99. So he was still alive when this, because 1910, that's a long time ago.
He probably saw a laundry mangler.
He saw a lot of mangled laundry too.
Well, think about.
It's funny though. You talk about a laundry mangler. When he was 10, he got caught stealing a penknife, and he got drafted into the Merchant Navy at 11.
Oh wow!
So he was pulling in New York Harbor as an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old during Prohibition era. And he remembers all the British sailors, they had rum rations, and they were all getting drunk on rum, but they couldn't get off the boat to drink. They had to stay on the boat because they were in dry New York. New York was dry. He remembers coming in and seeing the big Statue of Liberty and all that when he was like
crazy,
11 years old, 1911.
That's crazy. That's when this building was built.
Yeah, it was, She
says she didn't want a grandfather clock. Luann runs out. He goes, fine, I'll take the grandfather clock. It's a great grandfather clock. He takes it out to the garage, and he lowers the door, and he goes, I bet you'll be ready for the Millennium, Coach Landry. He's just pissed off now because nobody wants to take it as serious as he does.
Yeah.
He goes, you won 270 games, and all you needed was one suit and one hat and that one expression. And then he cranks the clock. He kind of watches it tick, and then he sees a little bad spot on the clock. And so he pulls out the varnish. Now, again, remember, this is a sealed room.
Yeah.
And he starts varnishing the clock. He gets, I just put down that he gets high. I mean, because
that's pretty much what it is, yeah.
He gets pretty damn loopy. And he just like, whoops, and he sees double, and then he finally just faints on the garage floor. You can hear the clock ticking and everything. And then Peggy from behind the door inside the house, she goes, Hank, I'm taking Bobby and Luann to get real presents. Oh, and I'm going to be driving a car if that's okay with you. And Hank's just passed out on the damn garage floor.
That's so shitty though. I'm going to go get real presents.
Yeah.
Like the gratitude, where's it at?
She has none. She has no gratitude. But we have gratitude for our commercial partners. And so we're going to take our second commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hey, Rusty, did you know that you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee?
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned a bottle around to actually see what's inside. You know, recently I did, and I found out many of my favorite creamers, like especially the one my wife used to use, they contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil, potassium phosphate, whatever that is.
Terrible.
Artificial flavors. I can't take artificial flavors a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm good on any flavoring.
They taste gross.
I don't like flavors in my coffee. I like the earth and flavor of coffee.
I mean, I love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I just I don't like all that crap in my coffee, right?
Yeah, no, who does that?
So let me tell you about Laird Superfoods then. They have better ingredients, amazing taste, and functional benefits. Laird Superfood creamers are crafted from the highest quality, all-natural, real food ingredients. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. Now, they're all natural. They've got whole food ingredients. They contain naturally occurring MCTs from coconut oil, and everybody tells you coconut oil is good for you. Mm-hmm. There's no artificial flavors, no colors, no additives, no sugar from highly refined corn syrup. So that's a big deal right there. If you take one thing you do every day and make it better, Laird developed his creamer himself to stay powered for a day on the waves. He was a big wave surfer, Laird Hamilton was, and he needed a morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. So he made this creamer, and it's crazy, crazy good. Laird sources high-quality plant-based ingredients globally and puts an emphasis on U.S. sources whenever possible. They aim to source responsibly and sustainably and believe that the food you consume should be as good for the earth as they are for you. They have honest and transparent products and labels. If you try it, you won't go back. They have functional superfood creamers, instant lattes, and prebiotic greens. They have a variety of snacks and supplements full of wholesome plant-based ingredients to keep you charged for wherever life takes you. So to get a deal on Laird Superfoods, I need you to go to zen.ai, BWAAA, King of the Hill. So that's zen.ai/BWAAA, King of the Hill. And your offer code there is BWAAA. So Laird Superfoods makes a better creamer that keeps you powered all day, and it's better for you, the earth, and your coffee. What do you say, Rusty? You want to go get some coffee?
Coffee.
Hey, Rusty?
Yeah.
Did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue?
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall almost every day. I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, brain fog. But luckily, there's a cure.
Oh, there is?
Actually, I should have said there's a solution. It's called Cure. Cure Hydration. The Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution, or ORS, that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes. We know how important that is because plants crave it.
Super important.
And glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt. Whoopee. And it is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. That makes it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions and preferences. The packets that they give you, they're convenient. They're easy to use. You just mix them with water and drink. They're perfect for on-the-go, travel, or anytime you need quick hydration.
Hydration is more than just drinking water, Rusty. It is that's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. I've known people like that. My wife drinks so much water, it's crazy. Lauren found Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydration easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they only use the highest ingredients and quality plant-based stuff to avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So are you ready to combat dehydration?
Absolutely.
You can try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use your code
BWAAA. Sorry, I blanked.
You're good. For 20% off your order. Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use our special code
BWAAA
for 20% off your order. Your coupon will be activated at checkout. Try Cure Hydration. Stop drying out.
All right, and we are back. If you can tell by the hands on the 1911 grandfather clock, it is time to wrap this sucker up. We hear the clock chiming, and Hank is still on the ground in the garage, and he's just like, he's very, very loopy. He starts to hallucinate. Hank is now seeing visions of whack-a-mole.
This is the whack-a-mole vision where he is the moles.
He is a mole, and so is everybody else.
Yeah.
He's trying to wake up, but he sees all this going on, and he looks around and sees all the moles, and he's like, well, are you guys crazy? Don't stick your heads out there.
This is one of my favorite animated sequences in probably in King of the Hill.
Really?
It's one of my top
It's a good
10.
one. It's a good
with
one.
the heads bobbing up and
I
down.
love how they've all got the buck teeth and all that stuff.
It's almost like a horror scene.
It is.
Like a
well, to him, it's definitely a
dark
horror scene.
because it's kind of like a darker scene. I like it.
He's talking to the other moles, and he's like, hey, you guys crazy? Don't stick your heads out there. You'll get whacked. And then he looks over, and he sees Peggy as a mole, and he goes, Peggy. She goes, I'm going to get a computer, and sticks her head right out the top and goes, boom, ow. Boom. And then she comes back down. Hank, as a mole, is like fighting it, refuses to go up, and he goes, Bobby mole. He looks over at Bobby. Bobby is stacking toilet paper, and he goes, I'm wearing diapers, Father. He goes, what? He goes, I'm going backwards. I'm a baby now. The future is bad. You said so yourself. Gooba gabba geeba. He's just like, oh, God.
The future is bad.
The future is bad. And
That's such a Hank thing. Yeah, the future is bad.
He sees all the moles going back and forth, and they're chanting up and down, join the party, up and down. He's like, this is insanity. Keep your heads down. He looks over, and there's kind of a light shining on this one mole that's turned around. It's got a hat on. He goes, Tom Landry? And we hear the Tom Landry mole turns around and goes, hello, Hank. He says, Coach Landry, you got to get off the platform. It's a peg and gear. In a couple of seconds, it's going to push you through that hole. He goes, I know. He goes, but aren't you scared? You're going to get whacked. He goes, not every time, Hank. And the times you don't, it's pretty sweet. Sunshine, fresh air, a little football on the TV in the arcade. Every time I go up, I see a little more. Well, my turn again. He tips the hat, and he goes right up, and he goes, the Cowboys are playing. Attaboy, Troy. Hank Mole says, come on, Bobby, it'll be all right. Coach Landry said so. Bobby says, no, I like it here. It's safe and it's quilted. He's got a fort built out of toilet paper over there as a mole.
Yeah.
And he's like, googie. And Hank says, Bobby, come with me. Everything's going to be just fine. And the Hank Mole goes up, and then, and he wakes up on the floor, real woozy and stuff. And he has finally kind of started to come out of this thing. And then all of a sudden, you see Hank on the riding lawnmower bust through the garage door out into the backyard. Peggy and Luann and Bobby have come home from shopping, and they're like, dear God, oh, for goodness sake. Bobby comes running over, Dad, are you okay? And he's just like coughing and sputtering. He says, yeah, I'm okay. We're all going to be okay. And now we transition to what is kind of the final scene here. It's nighttime. They're all outside. They've piled up all the toilet paper and all the Y2K stuff, the mangler, everything else. And Bobby looks at his dad and he goes, what are you doing? He goes, Bobby, trust me. If you want to apologize to everyone for almost ruining Christmas, or he says, I want to apologize to everyone for almost ruining Christmas. There really is nothing to be afraid about this millennium. And then all of a sudden a crowd starts to gather, which is very sitcom-y. He goes, heck, the year 2000 only happens once in history of man, and we're darn lucky to see it. Peggy, do you remember how excited you were when you rolled over the odometer in that Buick? Well, imagine if the whole world had been there in that car to see it with you. And then he lights a roll of toilet paper on a stick, and he hands it over to Bobby, and he's ready for Bobby to light all that stuff up. Bobby lights it all on fire. He starts pushing the clock closer to the fire.
Ooh-wee.
And, yeah, Peggy says, oh, man, Hank, honey, don't burn the clock. She says, the more I see, the more I think it makes me look like an intellectual. Again,
yeah, there
Peggy.
you go.
Yeah. Hank says, actually, Peggy, I got you a real Christmas present. And he hands her a little brochure, and it's basically one of those iMacs. You remember the ones that were translucent, had the big monitor? They came in different colors. The front of it was like clear.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in every library and every
It's like
classroom
the,
for a while.
what was it called? It's a particular model. The Blueberry iMac G3 is what.
He shows it to her, and she goes,
has.
it is the blue one, the translucent one. She goes, a system? Really? He goes, yep, the blueberry one. It'll be here tomorrow, which the day after Christmas, probably not.
Yeah, probably
But
not.
she goes, oh, Hank. And then she kicks the clock into the fire. And so that's what I was questioning about that. And then the camera just pans up. You see all of Arlen. And for the first time in the entire show, we hear Con say, hey, hillbillies, those aren't logs. They're for wipey. And then you see a little snowfall, and we get the credits. And that's
There
it.
you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody made it. Of course, after the credits, we hear Dale go, you're going to be begging for Gerbster. And that is it, man. That is season 4, episode 10, Hillennium. Very good episode.
That's a great one.
It's a good one, and it seemed to go really fast for me for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if there weren't as many cutscenes or whatever, but it just seemed to just really truck along.
I liked it. It was a good one.
Good.
It was a
great
fast
episode.
one, though.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right. Well, we'll be here Friday with a That Ain't Right Friday.
Ain't Right
You want to tell
Friday.
people where they can find us?
You can find us at bwaaakoth.com, or you could go over to roguemedianetwork.com/bwaaakoth.
That's right. There's a lot of shows there. If you want to watch, Animation Conversation, which Rusty and F do, all about animation. If that's your bag, we've got tons and tons of shows there for you to check out. And we will be back, like I said, Friday, and then Monday we'll have a new episode. We'll go to season 4, episode 11. We'll see you later.
We Matanye.
We Matanya, indeed.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.